Hello everyone, friends and subscribers, Girl Wisdom back again, and back to the Eagle Abbey, because I want to. Anyway, this video today is going to be about the great hair debate, and I've been wanting to do this video for a few months now. It's just been something I've been putting off because it is kind of one of the hot topics of this corner of YouTube, and is something that I think I could elaborate on that doesn't seem to be being said. Well, at least not in my opinion. Or if it's being said, it's not being said by somebody who is natural and very proud to be natural. But what provoked me to finally put my 2 cents on, the whole thing about black hair was a video submitted by Robert, aka Dat Nigga with the Tattoos. That's his YouTube name. I don't know his last name, or if he shares his last name with YouTube, but the guy's true name is Robert. The video today was an upload he submitted about 6 days ago. I believe it was titled, it was Natural Hair Part 4. That was the sort of subtitle. The main title was Relaxed Women Who Hate on Natural Women or something. Yeah, I believe that is, but I'll have the link in the description box so you guys can go over and check out his video if you haven't already, so you'll know what I'm replying to, what I'm agreeing with, and what I'm not agreeing with, because he did bring up a lot of things that I did in fact agree with. I do think that from a very young age, young black girls are conditioned to think that their hair is totally unmanageable, or it has to be altered, like it's just mandatory to be altered. And I do believe that's a very destructive message, and I believe that natural hair should be encouraged and that processing hair should be discouraged. What I disagree with is the way that many people go about discouraging processed hair. For those of you who don't know, and some of you you subs that are listening to this might know this about me, but since I am going to be dedicating this entire video on hair, I've mentioned it in passing a few times, but now I'm going to go into my hair journey and why it affects my views on this whole topic. Well, first of all, I'm 26 years old. I've been natural since I was 24, and I've been relaxed from age 6 to age 24. Now, after 18, I did have a choice in the matter. Prior to that, my hair was relaxed against my will. But even though I had the choice in the matter, my relaxed hair was very thick. It was healthy looking, at least. I'm sure it wasn't all that healthy since it was chemically processed, even though the relaxer I used was Cream of Nature. Very ironic name. It was Cream of Nature and it had no lye in it. But still, it was processed hair, so I mean, how healthy was it really? I'll never really know. But my point is, I didn't have, the thinning hair or the short hair. My hair didn't fall out. I didn't have any hair disasters. I think a few times as a child I had scabs now and then, because my mom would leave the relaxer in too long. But she stopped relaxing my hair when I was like 12 or 13. So yeah, 13 I believe. And so from then on I was just getting it done at salons, and the salons don't want to be sued. The smart ones anyway, the reputable ones don't want to be sued. They don't want to get shut down, so they're not going to leave it in your head if you ask them to wash it out. So anyway, my point is, I didn't go natural because I had some massive epic hair failure, or the relaxer just destroyed my hair like a lot of people make relaxer out to be. The only thing was, I just kept at it for so long because it's all I knew. All I knew was long, thick hair down my back. That's all I knew. I think back in 2005, I got bored with the whole long, thick hair routine, and I wanted to try something new. I wanted to try a new style, so I had a bob. Yeah, I had it bob length from 2005 to early 2007. Yeah, that sounds about right, because and I stopped having it bob length because every time I would get it relaxed, it would keep growing back and growing back. And I would go get it done at a Dominican place, and apparently the Dominicans didn't understand what I meant by bob length, and they would give me a hideous page boy every time, and it was getting on my nerves, and I got tired of spending money, so I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm just going to get it relaxed. But when I was getting my hair relaxed, I was contemplating going natural, because I had no clue what my natural hair was like. I started getting relaxed at age 6. I do have memories of 5 years old. You know, I can't remember anything before age 5, but I do have memories at age 5, and I don't have any positive memories of my natural hair. I just remember it really hurting and, you know, really hating to get my hair done because it was so coarse and thick, and my follicles are very wide. My mother wouldn't verbally abuse me per se. I wouldn't hear a bunch of nappy head this or that. But see, my mother has hair that's very similar to a biracial person. I pretty much look exactly like my mom, except she has very thin lips and she has looser textured hair. So yeah, so she kind of looks exactly like a biracial person. But that's beside the point. My mother, the type of hair I had, you know, it came from my dad, and my mom doesn't really have, you know, she doesn't have typical black hair. I'll say she doesn't really have afro hair or negroid hair, so she didn't really know what to do with my hair. And because she didn't know what to do with it, in her mind, it wasn't manageable. So I think after age 18, when I was sort of asking about my mom about going natural, occasionally my grandma, but keep in mind, my grandma is also mixed race, and she was born in 1933, so she's pretty much almost 80 years old now. And I love my grandma. My grandma, you know, I totally love her. I owe my grandma so much, but a lot of times she just doesn't know what she's talking about. And that's because she was married from 1953 to 2009, and the only reason she stopped being, her marriage status changed in 2009 was because her husband died. So she's been out of the dating pool, you know, and has been a stay-at-home mother for decades, you know, for eras. So her views on things, you know, she doesn't know what she's talking about. I think the user Differentbutcute had a video about her experiences going natural, and sort of the dumb bass-backwards thing her grandma tells her that sort of grinds her gears and rustles her jimmies. But she said, if you're going through the same thing, just ignore it. Other than little stuff my grandma sort of says, and my grandma's not even mean about it, but she just says things that really rubs me the wrong way about my hair sometimes. Like, she doesn't seem to grasp the concept that when you're a young girl and you have to go through all of that, because getting your hair relaxed, to me, it's a miserable experience. I don't miss it, and I'm never going back. That's for damn sure. I know one of the people who replied to you said something about a lot of chicks who did go natural are going back to relaxers. Oh, hell no. That's just not going to be me. Matter of fact, one time there was this car that passed by my neighborhood that was playing some song in Espanol, and it was that same song that kept looping at that Dominican salon. So as soon as I heard it, I was getting like these flashbacks of sitting in that stupid salon and smelling those nasty chemicals. And I was like, oh, thank God I don't have to do this shit no more. You know, it was, so yeah, I'm done. I am just done. Now, as you can see, it's in a fro. If you want to, those of you who aren't familiar with me, you could check out my video, Immature Adult / Courtesy, and that's what it looks like now, because I know on my webcam I couldn't really get the full scope of my hair, you know, but wow. See, this is part of the reason why I was reluctant to do this video, because I'm just like rambling on. I didn't even get to the main point of why I made it. You know, all of this being said, I do think sometimes you guys, and when I say you guys, I mean other natural-haired women and you guys that support them, or support us rather, sometimes you guys are a little are a little too harsh on women who relax. I'm really not going to speak too much on the whole weave wig thing because I've never had weaves. None of the women in my family wear weaves. They either have natural hair or they're relaxed. Nobody in my family wears weaves. So like I don't, and I don't really deal with black women outside of my family. So yeah, I don't know anybody who has a weave. I mean, I don't know anybody well who has a weave. I work with black chicks who have weaves and or relaxers, and they always compliment my hair. They're very nice to me. They never in general, people are nice to me, at least offline. It's just online when I get all of this nastiness and hatred from people. But in the real world, I don't get any of this shade thrown at me like that. That's another story. But they don't hate on me or say ignorant things. No black men have said ignorant things about my natural hair, online or offline. My husband loves my natural hair. And I do think, Robert, it was a very interesting thing how you said you'd be willing to date a girl with relaxed hair even though natural is your preference. If you guys start getting serious, you might have her, lean towards going natural. Well, I think that's a very noble thing because my husband was the catalyst for me going natural. Because I went natural when we were courting, but even before then, I still wanted to do it. I wanted to do it, but what was holding me back was my mom insisting that if I do it, my hair's just going to be a mess because I won't know what to do. And for a while, that was true. It was true because I have the coarsest hair of any woman in my family. I think possibly any person in my family. I have the coarsest hair. So, and they relaxed it when I was a child, prepubescent child. So they didn't know what to tell me. They didn't know what to tell me, how to do even though my husband has, even though he loves natural, African hair, he doesn't have typical African hair himself. So he didn't really know. It wasn't until I met my mother-in-law, who has natural hair and who had natural hair most of her life. That's what she knew to tell me what to do. And she kept fawning over my hair. She really thinks I have beautiful hair. And she's amazed at how thick it is. But she showed me how to do it because prior to me meeting her, I didn't know what I was doing. I was natural, but it looked kind of sloppy, to tell you the truth. It didn't look terribly sloppy, but I wasn't combing it properly. Because there is a special way that I have to comb my hair, and it's not that time consuming. It was initially, but now it isn't at all. And my hair is very easy to manage. I'm not spending as much money as I used to when I was getting it relaxed. That was $200 a year. I mean, and some chicks, they get these weaves that are over $500, and I just don't understand that. I think that's such an abominable waste of money. But I do want to kick my own ass for relaxing my hair all those years after I turned 18, because that could have been 200. Well, to be exact, I think I calculated it as $1,200. That could have been in my pocket. It could have gone to things I really enjoy. It could have gone to things that were so much more important, or even just for a dozen rainy days, or at least maybe 5 rainy days. And look, it really adds up. But so yeah, I'm totally team natural, if you would call that. I don't know. I think we kind of have to stop the whole team thing and versus stuff when it comes to us as black people. And I don't just mean black Americans. I mean globally. I mean, we could acknowledge each other's differences and talk about our experience, but I don't think it should be like a versus thing, or it shouldn't be like competition isn't the word I'm looking for, but it shouldn't be like we're going head to head over something like hair, or even worse, over skin color, because skin color is nothing you could even control. But getting back to my original point, I don't believe that all women who relax their hair hate natural hair, or they think their hair is ugly. A lot of times they were in the position that I was in, and they had nobody around to encourage them or to help them out with what they're doing. And they just sort of, and then on top of that, you get put down sometimes. I mean, Differentbutcute had a video saying that, since she's gone natural, she's been called all types of bald-headed bitches and whatever. And see, when I did my big chop, my hair was significantly longer than hers. Like, it was still short hair, but it was like maybe 6 inches of hair. 6 inches, possibly more. No, I don't think it was more than 6 inches. But yeah, I waited, I waited till I had a lot of new growth to do the big chop, because I didn't want to be called bald or anything. I didn't want to, and I didn't want to be thought of as homosexual either, because I already have. It doesn't help that I like sci-fi movies and comic books more than I like most feminine or typically feminine stuff. So that, coupled up with the short hairdo, I didn't really want to have to go through that. And boy, I have been on here for 16 minutes, and I've been rambling. Yeah, sorry guys. Oh, and those of you who were anticipating my video about my experiences as a visibly obvious multiracial person, that's coming up. I haven't forgotten about it, but I still wanted to get this out, about the whole hair thing. But yeah, I do think natural hair should definitely be encouraged, but I don't think we should really go that hard on the relaxed chicks. Although I do think part of it is a conditioning, because when I was relaxed, I was legitimately convinced that my hair would be impossible to manage, just because my mother told me that so much. And since my mother, she produced me and she raised me and she did my hair, and my grandma did my hair, since they actually did my hair growing up, I thought they knew what they were talking about. But it turns out they didn't, because my mother has like type 3C hair, and my grandma, she's been, before she had her hair relaxed, she was hot combed. And now my grandma has hair that's very long. Her hair is in the middle of her back, but is still relaxed hair. And she still gets a lot of new growth. I think that's the key to why I had long hair when I was relaxed. I didn't get it relaxed as soon as I got new growth. I actually would get it relaxed every 2 months or 3 months. I think when I was a child, it was every 3 months. When I was a teenager, it was every 2 or 3 months, any other time. But it was never, I've heard of people getting their hair relaxed like once a month. Yeah, you're doing it wrong. That's going to lead to your hair falling out. But even if relaxed hair can be attractive or look attractive, it's still, like I said, it's still a bad feeling when you feel like you have to go through all that misery and or spend all that money. Because a child doesn't really know the concept of the money they're spending. But when you get to be like a teenager, an adult, you start to think about it, and it's not a good feeling. It's not good for the self-esteem, because you look at all these other groups of people, and you're like, well, these other groups of people, they don't have to do all of this to their hair. They could go on about their business. Why can't I? Why can't I have hair that can look good casually and every day, and I don't have to go through all this BS just to get it to look presentable? Why is that? Then it starts to, it's not good. It's just not good for the self-esteem. It's not good for the soul. And you may not think it is, if you're a chick with relaxed hair, you may not think it's a big deal initially, but subconsciously, it's very subtle. It's subtle, but it's effective conditioning. Subconsciously, that's how you really feel. I mean, because who really loves getting their hair relaxed? Be honest. I mean, yeah, sure, you should have the freedom to do so, but who loves that crap? And who really loves the weave thing? I mean, I kind of, out of curiosity, I've gone to YouTube videos to see what women have to go through when they weave. I mean, who really wants that? Because not only are you spending all that money, but just sitting there for hours getting something sewed in or glued in. Who really wants that? I'm just saying, if you want to do that to your hair, fine, but on a collective level, not speaking individually, on a collective level, it's really not benefiting you psychologically or financially. Most definitely not financially, but also not psychologically if we're talking about the 18 and under crowd who get that done. And I believe that's it. That's pretty much all I have to say. And I have been natural for 21 months now, and I'm really proud of that. All I pretty much do is just water, VO5 conditioner. When I feel like splurging, I'll get Carol's Daughter products, but I haven't had Carol's Daughter in since winter time, and I don't know. I think it might be a really hot summer with, all the cicadas and all. I think I might skip the Carol's Daughter stuff this summer because I really don't want any cicadas landing in my hair because I smell like trees and sap and whatever. Yeah, I think cicadas are awesome bugs, as you could see from my favorites, but I don't think they'll be awesome in my hair. So, that's it. Girl was about. And as I said, guys, if you know somebody who relaxes their hair or who puts weave in their hair, try to be a little bit more polite if you want to encourage them to be natural. Don't come down on them so hard. Just say, "Oh, you just hate yourself and you hate your hair." Because if you kind of throw shaming tactics out, that'll be at least read as a shaming tactic, and that will make them more resistant. Everybody can't go natural, and everybody won't do it, but if you want to encourage the younger crowd, it's best not to do it in a way that comes off as draconian or like you're condemning them. That's the least. You have to factor in what their family tells them and social pressures. And like I said, even when I did get my hair relaxed, I still did go against the grain in that. So society as a whole wasn't my concern, but having my hair too short was my concern, and knowing what to do with it was also my concern. I didn't want it to be, a damn bird's nest because I didn't know how to take care of it. So thank God, or thank the universe, or whatever you believe in, for my mother-in-law, because she showed me what to do, and now I really enjoy my hair. So that's all I have to say for now. Colonel is about. See you later.